Welcome back to Casting Confidential for our third season. I'm your host, Rose Rosen, and we've got such an exciting season ahead for you, filled with amazing guests from top celebrities to some of the best casting directors in the business. Plus, we have a special surprise waiting for you at the end of each episode, so make sure you listen all the way through. I know you're going to love it. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors who make this show possible, Casting Networks and Right Positive Films. Their support helps us bring you the very best of the casting world every week. Looking to land your next big role? Casting Networks is where more high-quality roles are booked than any other casting service. With an annual membership, you'll unlock every tool you need to stand out. Unlimited headshots and reels, submission tracking, even the chance to link your socials and showcase your personal brand. On the go, the Casting Network's iOS app makes it easy to find and submit to roles anytime, anywhere. Right now, Casting Confidential listeners get $65 off an annual membership. Just use code CONFIDENTIAL at checkout or try it free for 14 days. Head to castingnetworks.com/confidential and get ready to get noticed. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Ready to take your next bold step as an artist? Shamika Wright, through Right Positive Films, offers coaching built on being authentic, empowering, and intentional because your true story deserves to shine. Shamika helps performers tap into their real voice, build real confidence, and move forward with clarity and purpose. Don't wait. Your next chapter is ready for you. Visit rightpositive.com, that's WRIGHT, positive.com, and book your coaching session today with Shamika. The right guidance can change everything. And with that, let's jump right into today's show.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Casting Confidential, the show that pulls back the curtain on the casting process and gives actors real-world insights from the people who make the decisions. I'm your host, Rose Rosen, and I'm joined today by the phenomenal casting director, Robin Carus. Hi, Robin. Robin, you have a show that was playing off-Broadway recently?
Yes, Ceremonies and Dark Old Men. I actually have two shows, and the other is a musical called Beau. And yeah, and there you go.
I love it. I love it. On today's special guest is someone who truly embodies the hybrid performer, actor, stand-up, and writer, whose work spans network TV, indie film, streaming, and the stage. You might know him from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend or Babylon, or his sharp and hilarious stand-up specials like 6 Parts and You Choose. I love that You Choose one. We'll talk about it later. Or his recent appearance on Hacks or TED, and or the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Danny actually studied Strasberg method at NYU before stand-up comedy became the realization of he was going to do it, and he was going to make it as a stand-up comedian, and he dedicated himself to that. And Danny also loves pizza and doesn't care for cats. Please welcome the incredibly talented and always surprising Danny Jolles.
Hey.
Did you like that? I enjoyed reading it.
I sent it to you. I did not know it would be read word for word, that bio, but
I mean, I think I added to it.
did you add some? You added some stuff, but I definitely put those things in that order, and I regret some of them.
Well, no regrets here.
I did not publicly know I would be going after cats that harsh, out of the gates, but
here you are. Well, here, I'll give you a redemption. Do you like dogs?
Love dogs. I have 2 dogs in the room with me right now.
Okay, so there you go. The dog lovers, he loves the dogs. He's not crazy for a cat,
And you're pro pizza, which is amazing.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
I think some people have to be more pro pizza. I think people aren't acknowledging that there's a lot of great foods, but pizza is the best one. And I
Yeah,
think we don't say it enough.
my husband would agree with you.
Mhm.
So, where are you like this minute?
This minute, I'm in LA in my home.
Okay, well, that's good because I know you're always on the road, always going somewhere.
Yep.
And, so it's good. Good to have you home. So, today we're going to talk about your journey, break down your approach to auditions. And later in the episode, Danny's going to do a short read with a guest actor who's going to join us for some live feedback. Stick around, there's a lot to learn from this one. So let's start with your origin story. How did this all begin for you? Was it acting first, stand-up writing? What do you think?
It was, I mean, I think stand-up was always going to be an inevitability, but in comedy in general. Um, but when I was in high school, I went to Virginia public school, so I was, one of five guys doing the acting stuff. No
Right.
one else was really around. So I went from that to I got into NYU, and I got into the Strasberg studio, and I was like, I'm going to be a serious actor. That is what I'm going to do. That is what I will become. Enough of this clown stuff. It's time to be a serious actor.
How'd you do with that? Like, what went on there? Did you do Shakespeare? What happened?
Yeah, I did Shakespeare. I did like a ton of Mammoth. The Strasberg was much more modern, so we didn't have to do a ton of Shakespeare, but we would do a lot of Mammoth, a lot of Neil Son, like just any play, and that was kind of, and I did well. I thought I was pretty good. I got through it.
But it
You know,
wasn't fun? Go
It
ahead,
was it was a lot of fun, and I loved it. I truly loved and still love dramatic acting. Like I still think it is one of my favorite things to do.
given that you went to school in New York and you're sort of in an I think, you're in one of the places that's kind of an actor's playground, if you will. And so I'm curious when when you were in school studying, if you started to make connections with casting directors and industry people, was that even a thing, or were you just sort of like studies and acting in productions and that's it?
I think NYU was very serious about keep it in-house, right? They really wanted you to be focused in-house. So I was a little bit of a rascal in that I was doing stand-up a little and I was doing Upright Citizens Brigade. So I was doing sketch comedy, I was
Yeah.
doing improv comedy, doing stand-up a little, but it was such a cold world out of the gates that it just wasn't my vibe, right? Like I still think I'm a pretty like mellow, nice guy. And stand-up didn't feel like that world.
That's a dog eat dog world, isn't it?
It is, and also it's not when you get to a certain point in it. Like
Right.
I actually stand by stand-up comedy might be the best group of people out of any group I've been in once you really get in, but it's cold out of the gates.
Right.
Cold. And
They
so
really want to, test you, don't they?
yes, they really want to test you. And so, but NYU, toted this kind of thing of like, when you graduate, we really set you up for success. So you're going to get these, showcases and you will introduce you to all these casting people. So in my mind, I was like, I don't need to focus on that yet.
Mhm.
I'm just going to focus on being the best actor I can be.
So
Yeah.
I feel like we could relate your stand-up experience in the early days to casting rooms.
I'm
Like
sure.
it's kind of all a test. So how did you feel in the early days when you were showing up into audition rooms? What was your experience with casting? This season I'm really trying to get to the bottom of how you guys feel versus how we feel and what's the disconnect, right? So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that if I could go back in time to myself, and what I would say to any young actor is the thing they don't tell you in school, and I think the thing that is the most you should know is of any group of people who you're trying to impress, casting directors is the group. That's the one you should be targeting. That's the people you should be, because it's a symbiotic relationship. It's the only one that I would argue is symbiotic. Um, Casting
Really?
director, yeah, I think that the rest are much more. I mean, agents and managers, right? Like you're only a benefit to them if you're making money. They're not
Right.
they're not excited about like a young, they're taking a risk on you, but it isn't, they're only going to be there if you're making them money usually. Um, and then producers, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it than obviously like there's a lot that goes into casting for a producer that's less about the actor and a lot about the numbers and what are we doing here and who's watching because of this. Director is going with, I actually like to work with someone I know a lot of time, like they really want to go. But the casting director, the ultimate win, I think, for a cast director, and feel free to correct me, is I found this guy.
Yeah.
I
No,
found
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. You get us. You get us.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
literally why I invited you on. I know we had a conversation on Instagram and you
Hmm.
were like, so like, I love casting directors and not in a suck uppy kind of way.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to suck up. I'm really
No,
like,
no,
we benefit each other.
right.
If you cast me, that is such a nice thing. And if I show up to set and I crush it, you look good. Like we
Right.
win. We all win with casting.
That's it. And somehow that doesn't, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure it has to do with when, COVID hit and the self-tapes hit and I don't know, we seem to be the target of actors' angst.
Yes.
And I appreciate that at least you understand that no matter whether we're seeing you in the room or the self-tape, that you getting the part is all we want.
Yes, completely. And
Yeah.
a lot of, look, the self-tape thing, like we can get into it when we get into it, and I will give you my take on the
We can,
self-tape.
yeah, we could go right in.
I mean, but I also, but my before we get into this, just like I don't think anybody, I would argue nobody likes the self-tape. I think that everybody's frustrated by the situation, but it's the situation we're in.
Right.
So the one thing I don't like with actors is like, and I've said this to people of like, I have made it known. I think most actors, particularly those that don't have an inside track, have made it known this is tough. I don't like them. But for a lot of times, you're not given the budget to have a room. You're not given the budget to do this the other way. The most you could maybe do is a Zoom session, but that's all, it's like, but that's it. So it's like, this is the situation we're in. Don't blame casting directors. I think most casting directors, if they were given a budget, would open a room. That's not so I don't know. I'm very much like, yes, I think that there's frustration with everyone, and obviously we're all frustrated with the situation, but at the core, just particularly to a young actor, just being like, casting directors, casting directors, casting directors. Like
That's it.
they're your friends. They are actually your friends.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I appreciate that. And I mean, so what was your experience? Like, tell me like early champions that you've known from the audition room. Who were some of your champions in terms of casting directors back in the day? And then we can bring it up to now too.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, the thing I'll say, so this goes back to the opening, right? Where I graduated NYU, I'm going to showcase. I showcase for four people. I mean, they did nothing to help us.
Right.
So we just get planted in the middle of New York. I don't have an inside track, meaning I don't have family. I don't have a good connect. I don't have a ton of wealth. I just don't have anything that really is going to give me the inside track. So I'm doing pay to play auditions. I would argue not great.
Oh, you
Uh,
mean those workshops that they
yes,
stopped eventually where, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
doing this because I
Yeah.
know way in, and I realized very quickly I was like, oh, I'll never make it as an actor if I do this way. I just won't make it. Like, there's no way. And I didn't know at the time to target casting actors, but I was like, how do you get in a room? Like, getting in a room is impossible.
Right.
It's so hard to get in a room sometimes. And so
There's
I
only so many slots.
there's only so many slots and I have nobody repping me. I have no credits. I just
Right.
graduated. I have an NYU next to my name. Who cares?
Nobody.
Um, yeah, like who cares?
Sorry.
No, I stand by when I talk to you. I'm like, they don't care. Why would they care?
Show us the goods. But
Show
you
us
can't show us the goods if you're not in the room. So yeah,
and
it's a terrible paradox.
and so, this is always my story is I was graduating. I was really coming to the cold realization of I don't think I'll ever audition for anyone ever. I don't think I have a real shot at this. And my friend goes, this guy, he's taping a special at the NYU theater. They need seats. They need people to fill seats. Um, he was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I was like, all right, I'm sort of halfway into stand-up now, but not really taking it that seriously because I'm still a dramatic actor. I'm going to be a dramatic actor. Um, and uh,
What happened?
and then I go to this special. It was Kevin Hart's first special. I
Oh
was
wow.
third row. And I just remember sitting there going, I don't know if this guy has a connection in the world. He's going to do just fine because he's so funny. And this is such a clear product. I know exactly what he is. And that day, I basically stopped trying to do the pay-to-play auditions. I stopped trying to do anything. I said, we're going stand up hard and sketch comedy and making videos online and really quality videos online. Like, I think there's a difference between dancing on TikTok and going, I'm going to showcase myself in this thing. It's not
And
about, yeah.
and I'm curious, through that showcasing yourself, I'm curious if there were people that through that methodology, if they then started contacting you and
Yes.
okay.
So then I go to LA. Now I'm a stand-up, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden, particularly like uh let me make sure I get her name right. I want to make sure I get it correctly, and I'm so sorry that I'm embarrassed that I don't have it down. But I believe her first name is Emily. I know her as Emily, but now I want to make sure I say her last name correctly. But she was Allison Jones's um
Oh, Allison. Yeah, yeah.
she's Allison Jones's assistant at the time. And she
Emily, Allison.
I have to figure it out, but
That's good. It's
I'm
good.
gonna get it. But she saw my sketch group, called me in for some stuff, introduced me to Allison Jones. This meant Allison Jones has no clue what this meant to me at the time. Allison Jones did a general with me. I had no representation. Allison
Oh,
Jones
it's amazing.
just sat
Yeah.
down with me, just talked to me. That meant the world.
Did
Um,
Allison do Curb?
uh, uh, uh,
Emily Schweber is what
that
the
sounds right. That
yeah.
sounds right. Such a big deal. And so she did Curb, and then I booked Love. I booked
Oh,
Love
great.
with
Amazing.
her, who was kept from the episode, but I did book it. And I did a good job.
Wait,
And I did a
casting
good
can't
job.
do anything about that.
And it's not my, and that, if that goes back to me, that's not my fault.
That's it.
And I will say to any actor, I just do think like when a casting director casts you, just remember like you doing a good job on set is a big deal. So
That's
I
it.
know a lot of people get cast and then they show up to set and they just absolutely are like the job is done. It's like, no, 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 now is the
No,
job.
this is it.
Now
This is
you're
it.
doing the job.
Oh my God. I love the notes from set. I love when they tell me the actor did great.
Yes.
And I also appreciate when they tell me they didn't.
Yes. And that's real. And I remember there's Katie Lance was a friend. She was a friend that was around and she was casting this show for ABC called Splitting Up Together. And she just switched to casting. It was like she was an assistant, I believe. It was like her first week and she called me in. I booked it. I had a great day on set. She texted me being like, they're telling me how great. It was the first time where I was like, oh, like it was the first time like I really realized that she was like, you just helped me. You made me look like a great casting director to my new boss. And
Uh,
so Katie Lance I've followed everywhere. I'll die for Katie Lance. Um, and then the number one by a bullet, like I'll always point to is Felicia Fasano. Felicia Fasano,
oh, Flea is the greatest. Yeah.
Felicia,
A nice gal.
Rachel Bloom, I've known since, college, which
Oh, really?
known her since college. She's one of my oldest friends. Um, but as you know, just because you're not able to just cast your friends, like.
You
So
can't, it's about the projects that are given to you, right?
completely. And it's Rachel's show, but she's like, there's CW, there's 1,000 people. Like I can't just call my friend in. So
No.
it's she, but Rachel was trying to get me just a credit because I had no credits really.
Right.
Um, and so I go in, I audition for a one-line role, don't book it, classic me. I come back like a month later and I read for this other role, and Felicia, first off, goes, I've seen you before. And I was like, really? I was like, you have? I didn't know you. She was like, yeah, you've been in, you did the last one, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, and then she goes, I have this other role. Can you go out in the hallway and learn this role? And I went in the hallway and that was George. And when I showed up to set, Rachel didn't even, because she just saw my name as the pick and she was like, yes. She was just so excited I got through. She didn't even notice they switched me. And then the realization came of like, oh, he's technically in the office. Oh, he could join the show. And then from there, what happened happened. But like, I'm always like, Felicia Fasano is 1,000% responsible for that.
That's so great.
That's
So,
all Felicia.
I mean, it's a little bit of your talent too.
A little bit of my talent with you to Felicia.
I'm curious if
Yes.
in any of those auditions, given the fact that Crazy X had so much singing in it, did they have you sing? Did they ask you anytime, can you carry a tune, or was that just like by the grace of God go I?
Such a great
Because
question.
so everyone else, yes. But
Mm-hmm.
remember, I snuck on the show basically. I
Mm-hmm.
tricked my way onto the show. So for me, I did not, because I was supposed to be in the role I got called in for was dancing in the background. I was a lawyer.
Right.
That was the role I got called in for. So they didn't need to know. When, you know, I do, but I had, and this is the other thing, like I'll say to anybody, which is like, just do stuff, do stuff, do stuff, just do things. Rachel used to do shows around New York for no money, no pay, just because but she was always doing this musical theater stuff. I do musical theater, love musical theater. Uh, and so, Rachel did a show at UCB and she was like, would you be like, I was a dancing cat and I was a thing. And I remember I learned, she did a bit one time where we did Seasons of Love in Klingon and I learned it. And and she would do all this stuff, but I just was like, I believe in this person, she's my friend. So I just would do stuff. So I will say Rachel knew I could do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wonder if that came up, but no, I only did three. I booked a 3-line role on Crazy Ex.
Right.
That was supposed to be 3 lines in season 1. Season 2, they just, I think because I was a co-star, I think one episode they were like, we need someone in the office. We don't have the budget for everybody else. Let's just bring this guy back. So I get called back for this one episode. And then I think it was the second day, maybe it was the second day, but one of the days I just had a good day. I just like had a moment. I showcased what I could do. Some people saw it, and that show was the most responsive to what you did on set, probably of any show I've ever been on since. Uh, and they just all of a sudden they were like, "We're just gonna start using you," and I was like, "Amazing!" And that was how it started. But no, no one ever tested me until at a certain point in the show, everybody was like, "You can sing, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course."
To me, every time I would see you on screen, you were always so mesmerizing to me, and I was like, what's he gonna do?
Uh,
Um, and so to me it was fun and charming, and of course, you know this better than anyone, they make you do the most ridiculous things. And so, but to me, it was joy, and it's joy to watch. So
yes, and I thank you. That's very nice of you to say. And I tried very hard with that character to make him. I also will say like also by the way, before I go more into this, early casting, I also want to shout out commercial casting directors. They
Right?
they
Commercials,
were
the whole, it's such a great gateway,
it's
right?
such a great gateway, particularly in getting used to the
Or
idea of
also do
audition.
it today,
I still do them all the time. Love them.
right? Why wouldn't you?
Um, And so I was like, but yeah, I always like shout out Bill Bailey as like a cast director in commercials who really believed in me. And now he's somebody who it's a decade later now that one, he's become an actual friend. Love Bill. And two, like Bill is somebody who it's like sometimes he's like doing something else and he's like, would you? And I'm like, I'll do anything you want me to do. Like Bill just
That's so great.
he's earned a lifetime. What do you want me to where you want me to be? I'll be there. Um
But
I
I mean, that's the money. You know.
It's the money, but sometimes with him, like the thing is like, yes, that's the money, and I say like commercials are a great world, everyone should be in it, but also like I will stand by, I will always stand by like, like Katie Lance, going back to Katie Lance, like during COVID or during the strike, I believe, she was just bored and she was helping with the student film and they liked me and she was like, would you do a day on a student film? There's no, and I was like, of course, for you, of course, I'm there.
Right.
And at
That's
one
so
point she was
great.
like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, no, for you, obviously. I was like, for no, I don't really want to do student films anymore, but for you, I'm there, of course. Um, and the
That's
other thing
why
I'll
I say, I mean, shout out to a student who incorporated a casting director somehow,
yes,
got that. And that's what, for the students watching, like get involved in the process so that your film will be great. And,
yes,
we have a lot of
and
friends.
totally. I mean, there's casting directors I can go down the list, that like. And both of you are now included in this list, who I'm like,
So
yeah,
excited.
ask me, like, if it's below, if I know people, it's like, I'm down to do it. If I don't know anybody involved in a student film, I'm getting a cold email.
Yeah,
But
no.
like,
Oh, well,
if
yeah.
and
I think
particularly if it's a way for me to help, I mean, not just like as nice a guy as I'm saying I am, like, it's also me helping out a casting director that probably could come back to me. So it's like, it is but that's the thing I say about like we both benefit. It's
it's
such a good beneficial relationship.
It is the way to look at it. I think you have the healthy way to do it. Let's talk
Mhm.
about self-tapes because everybody hates that part.
Yes.
Um, I think they're great. I did because I'm in Florida, so I've done self-tapes for 100 years. Like before the dawn of the tape. But I somehow figured out how to move material around and get people jobs. But I think it's a great opportunity because you don't have to be in LA anymore. Now you can be anywhere and you could book a lot of things. Now, if you're local, you should be local. But if it's open, it gives so many more. And if you're on vacation, you could do a self-tape. If you're somewhere, whatever. I think it's brilliant that we're doing self-tapes now, even though everybody hates them. What do you think?
I'm not a fan, but I will say this.
No,
I, but
why? Wait, let me go one deep on that. Why are you not a fan? Let's go. Let's get into the nitty gritty on that.
well, because what I do well is I think what I point to is I'm like, I would say that I think I'm a really good uh actor. And I think if I may say, and I show up to set, I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to not crumble under the pressure. Big, big issue.
Right?
Uh, and I'm going to give you a bunch of different takes and versions. And if you give me an adjustment, I'm going to adjust immediately. I'm going to internalize that adjustment and do it. With a self tape, all three of those factors you are not getting a read on. Lost all three of those. So now we're just looking at, I have sometimes referred to them, and this is going to come out harsh to the self tapes, and I apologize to self tapes, but I would say that they are a talking headshot. I think that they are a moving talking headshot where you are seeing what I can do, you're seeing how I look, you're seeing how I talk. I don't think you know how good an actor I am through them. But that as a result, this is again where I go, actors, I say, like, stop complaining. It is what it is. So let's embrace the talking head shot. Let's make sure that our talking head shot is the best version of a talking head shot. And let's understand the assignment. I'm giving, if it's a role that calls for a Jew in his early 30s and he's nervous and neurotic, I'm going to do that thing down the middle, down the barrel, because my headshot would be right. right down. I'm going down the middle. That's easy.
Yeah.
But if it's Ted, let's say, and it's a creepy uncle who was supposed to be older and a creepy neighbor, he's supposed to be older. It isn't really me. I'm not that guy. I'm gonna send you a pretty wild tape. I'm gonna send you a pretty crazy one because I think that's the only shot I have is to catch your eye and go, whoa, what was that? But I think that the biggest thing I point to with a self-tape is you are losing, I would argue the three biggest factors in acting are out of the room. And that is why I don't like them.
Let me
Oh,
ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I happen to love being in the room.
Mhm.
And given that I cast a lot of theater, it really is my fun to be there and to tinker. And in your experience, whether it's presently or whether it's from the past, has there ever been a time where you discovered a skill that you didn't know you had when you were in the room?
Ooh, great question. Great question. Thinking about it. I mean, I think that very early, I mean, look, I think the biggest discovery I made over time, and I credit the early casting directors with this, was the realization that, like, make yourself unique. The adjustment thing, I think I really, because up until getting cast on Crazy X, I hadn't been on a set consistently. If you're not on a set consistently, you don't really know what you're doing. So until you're on a professional set consistently, and like I always credit Scott Michael Foster for basically teaching me how to be a professional actor on the set of Crazy X. He was the one who was like, and this is a mark. Like he just had to teach me. I just didn't know those things. So, but I think learning how to take an adjustment happened in the room. And I can point to 100 times where a casting director, I've gone in, I had a banger of a take, I felt. And they gave me an adjustment, and I left the room and I was like, that was better. That was a better, that's a better tape. And then I booked and I go, wow, that was completely that casting director who got me there. So yes, completely. The in the room, you really get helped so much by the casting director. And I think on your guys' end, I would assume you're also seeing like, can I take an adjustment? So I also think that's a skill set I learned over time that's been huge for me, has been the ability to get an adjustment and go, yep, and then do it.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah. And I think the director sees that if we show them both tape,
Yeah.
so that, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I'm just, when I was in the room, it, I didn't have the attention span because I had too many things going on,
Mhm.
technology wise and people and, like, it, my attention span is better on a self tape. I'm going to actually watch you and I'm happy to adjust you and send it back to your agent and say, have them do it this way. And that's me and that's my answer. That doesn't mean it's right. It is where we are. And at least that's my warmth. I feel like I'm actually warmer and more accessible in a self tape.
I, yeah, I mean, look, the biggest part is it's where we are.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. Get over yourself. This is the business.
this is
You're
what
in
it
a
is.
business, do it, right?
And also like, look, I stand by my assessment of them. I've always said to any cast director, this is an open bet to any casting director. Give me 2 hours with anybody. So line up 10 actors, make one of them somebody who has no business acting. Look like an actor, no business. Horrible casting decision.
Right.
Give me 2 hours with them for a self-tape. Put it in the pile, see if you would spot it. See if any of your casting associate assistants would spot it as out of place. And then give me 2 hours with them before they go in the room. And see if they wouldn't immediately go, that person has no clue what they're doing. That was horrific. They'll crumble in the room. They'll fall apart. They can't handle it. They'll fall apart completely. If you've never acted and you go in the room, you'll die. It's crazy.
But
So
you think you could coach somebody on a self tape and give them 20, 30 takes and you'll
I've
be
done it.
able to.
I've done it. I'm responsible for some very terrible castings, unfortunately, and that is something I will apologize for. I've coached some comedians who have no clue what they're doing to some amazing self-tapes. I can coach anybody to a good self-tape. It's easy.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
I guess that says we need to do more Zoom callbacks at least.
Yes. Oh, I can, yes. I can show anybody how to do a good self-tape in 2 hours. It's not, it's eye line, it's a couple, I can just work you through it. Like, yeah, here are the beats. We're gonna do all three of these beats. Walk me over here. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do a little, what's something you say in life that's really specific to you. We're gonna work that in, a little bit of an improv. You guys are gonna think they improvise that. I'm gonna do everything I can to trick you. I can
No
trick you
kidding.
really well on a self.
So tell our listeners um some of your greatest tricks for a self-tape.
Well, my number one trick is like, I think the biggest thing I tell people is like, because again, going back to the first point, which is we are where we are, stop complaining. It is what it is. Like,
Right.
and embrace it. Let's embrace it.
Okay.
So my thing is, if it's down the middle, look at the roll. If it's a down the middle, Danny, down the middle.
Okay.
If it's not down the middle, what are we doing to stand out? What are we doing to make them go, wow, that's a completely different version of this character? But that might actually be really cool. And a lot of times, make yourself the pick where they go, we got three of the ones, and we got this weird version of the character we want to show you also. And I've booked off, Ted being the one I always point to the most, is I booked off Ted off of a very different version of the character than I think they initially thought it was going to be.
I mean, you're not wrong. This is how we present.
Yes.
How do you know
And
this?
Felicia.
Okay.
Felicia's the best. Felicia has taught me so much and given me the
That's
behind the
interesting.
scenes of they're going to present one crazy version. Be the crazy, particularly if you're not the one that if you know it isn't you.
That's such a great note.
And so I think and so really go hard, and I am famous for some very crazy self-tapes. Uh I'm I'm sure there's some cast directors that have not enjoyed my work, but I stand by like,
Who
yes,
cares?
Robin.
Have you ever gotten a comment back based on the self-tape where you're like, what was that? That was crazy.
Ted, I had to do it a second time, but the note was, and I thought it was real, it was from Seth, and it was like such a funny note of just like, you're very funny. Can you do it for real now?
Oh, that's
Like,
Seth
nice.
Yankowitz, right?
yes, but Seth sent it directly to me. Seth was the one who like messaged me and was
Love
like, need you to do it again, please. But and then I did it. But I only caught his eye, and I think I only went forward because that first tape was bananas. I was shirtless. I was crazy. Off the grid
Shirtless.
crazy self tape. Whereas Babylon was a self tape. It's a writer who's scared of Brad Pitt and things are falling and he's scared. Down the middle.
Yeah.
Down the middle. So we just did a down the middle tape. Understand the assignment, understand whether you're right for the role, and if you're not, what are we gonna do? Have I gotten notes back? Some. I find it stunning how rarely I get it back. I did one a couple months ago. It was a waiter and he was clumsy. It was like a clumsy guy and it was recurring, but he was clumsy. He just mentioned clumsy was like the thing they said. So I did the self-tape pretty normal because that was me. In my slate, I fell, I think 7 times. I kept cutting to it and I fell in different ways. So it was, hi, my name is Danny, and I'd fall. And hi, my name is Danny, something hit me in the head. Hi, my name is Danny, my thing flew up. Just did 27 different falls. Just I decided to sit down, miss the chair. Just everything and never heard a thing. And I was like, how do you not even just say, how do you not either hate me or love me for that slate? How do you not? Nothing. But that's where some actors, and we can't complain about this, sometimes they're not going to make it to the end. Sometimes they don't make it to the slate. I probably was ruled out of that one earlier, and they probably didn't see the slate, which is fair. But we're still going to put in the effort. We're going to put in the work and
In
make
the
sure we're gonna make
slate as opposed to in the read.
Yes, because I felt the read. My feeling is always we can't go too crazy. We do want to show we can do the role. Like there has to be some amount of this is me, and I didn't know how to. I can't fall 7 times in the middle of the read. That would be in, that's
Right.
not the scene. So
Right.
I think if you saw that, you would be like a little much.
Could be.
But the slate was my opportunity to go, if you make it this far, this is pretty fun. I'm not hurt. You saw I could do it, but this is a little extra bonus that would probably come in handy on set. I'm pretty good at falling. I'm pretty good at I do the clumsy part really well. I don't think they made it that far, but yeah, I've gotten some notes back.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was fun.
slates are all so like it's just like signing your name. It's really nothing.
Oh,
So to have a lot of acting in the slate has never been something that has stuck with me. Like you said, I may not get there. I just want to know where you are and like what your hands look like or something.
totally. But
You
if
know?
but then I do it, but then I go, so someone like that's when someone's like, oh, you put in all that work for nothing. I'm like, yeah, but maybe the next one they do see. So
Right,
like,
right.
why not? And I will say with those, I'll have my managers say like, you might want to check out the slate when they send it. They'll send it with a little bit of like something
Okay.
like that just to flag it.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I would
I alert
definitely see it.
I
And
alert my managers when I've done a crazy one. And I try to do it as regularly as I can. I do try to go. I like to have fun. I think that
I
It's
mean,
not
if
worth
nothing else, again, another thing I would say to a young actor, sometimes so much of an audition is actually you auditioning for the casting director and less for the project.
yes.
Um, it's a showcase. And so
Use
if
it.
I can do that and you go, he's not right for this role, but this guy is pretty funny, you know, then you call me back for something else and we're cooking with gas now. So yeah.
Absolutely. All right, tell me a little bit about I'm crazy about hacks as everybody is.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to see you on there. So excited. And so tell me a little bit about the audition process to get that.
It was it was a dream setup for casting where um it initially was a self-tape. And I went, okay. And then I'd say an hour later, they went, actually, they're going to offer you a Zoom read. And I went, oh my God, please. Oh my God, yes. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm so happy. I was like, yes, I'll move everything. I'll move everything. Like, and so I got to do a Zoom audition um, with Lisa and Morgan and I think two other associates. And um, they were so great and they gave me a bunch of adjustments and I had just I had a clear choice, but the character was right for me. So this was a
Yeah,
pretty down the middle.
down
It's
the
pretty down
middle.
the middle. So did it, just did it. Um and they laughed. It was one of those where I was like, I got off and I was like, and this as an actor, I don't know if you guys like can sense this, but there is a feeling when you leave the room of sometimes you leave and you're like, I did exactly what I wanted to do. And there's other times where I'm like, terrible. Just just not what I wanted. Particularly when
Right.
you go into room or Zoom, you only get that one shot. So sometimes you just don't nail a take, and that wasn't it. And so, um, but that was when I got off, and I was like, wow, that was exactly what I wanted to show them. Uh, and then it was I think a day later, I got the hey, I remember they said he's getting hard pinned for this. We're putting a hard pin. And I was like, oh my God. And then it was just like
Hard
pure
pin
bliss.
is like solid.
And then for 2 days, I just stressed so, because obviously it was such a big deal. And we were talking about this before, but Crazy X led to so much. My career was going up, up, up. COVID hit, imploded. I would describe it as an implosion.
Yeah.
Uh, and I have battled back.
Bad timing.
Just couldn't have killed me more. And again, when I go to, and it's like, Danny Young actor being like, you know, these other people do not care. Casting directors are the people. Other people do not care. I was dropped by my agents during COVID. Like, got dropped. When I couldn't work, physically was not allowed to work. Got dropped. Because I couldn't make money. So that I was no longer useful. Um, and so I had been battling back ever since and fighting my way and trying to get back into rooms. I had fought my way into rooms finally after college. I can't get in rooms. Finally, all of a sudden, I'm actually consistently getting auditions all gone. Now I'm back to how do I get in a room again completely. And so when that audition came in and it was and I guess they saw a lot of people. It was really big casting and they gave me that opportunity. I was so grateful to them that they gave me that Zoom read because I just felt like it gave me a shot. And I was, yeah, so grateful to them.
I'm curious for those moments of mm, instability, you know, um, I'm very curious that if you did any reach out on your own, to people whom you had made relationships with, either pre-COVID or, or in your travels as an actor that you felt like, okay, these are people that I can potentially, go to and say, anything brewing, were there any of those people for you?
I get anxious about that message. It's something I should do more of. My wife gets very mad at me about this. I'm not a, hey, is anything going on in your world guy. I don't like that feeling. And so I try not to do that too often. Probably should do it more.
Yeah.
I just get anxious about it. And so I was but I definitely was making people aware that I
Mhm.
was, but also there was so little casting. So it was like, what was
Yeah.
anybody able to do?
Right.
Um, it's still to this day, not a ton. The casting right now, getting in rooms is hard. Uh, to this very moment, I struggle to get into rooms. And I am back with agents,
We
back
don't
with
have rooms.
what?
There are no rooms.
Get tapes, get tapes. I'm saying to get tapes.
Oh,
To get,
okay.
yeah, yeah, sorry. I'm saying rooms is a
Oh, got you. All right.
yeah, yeah,
Fine.
yes. So,
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
sorry, sorry, sorry. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. To get tapes for certain things has been so challenging for me. And will I think my entire career be challenging. I'm just like accepted getting the tape will be the hardest part of my job. And what I do in those moments is I go, what can I control?
Yeah.
So rather than reach out, um, let me let instead of doing that, uh let me try to work on my stand-up more. Let me make a short film. Let's
Yeah.
make and just create noise. Like I also just think one thing to do is like make noise. Like be noisy and not in the way of do you have anything? Because as much as like that message is nice, particularly, I mean, even right now, like how many of those are you getting? So many. We're all looking for stuff. So I think going to anybody and going, "Do you have anything?" I just don't think it's a good look.
That's
Right.
good.
Whereas,
Yeah, well, you're right.
whereas going, even just doing like, "Hey, I'm doing a show. I'm doing a stand-up show. Like, Rob, I'm doing a show in New York in June, which is true, and I would love for you to come. And I'll comp you a ticket and for a plus one also.
And there it
Just
is.
know
I
that this
bet
is a
she'll
real thing I'm
come.
saying. And this is a real thing I'm saying in this moment. But like it's actually in July. But and that, right, that isn't me asking for anything. It's actually me just saying like, do you want to see me do the thing I do well? And like it's fun for you. And then now we have a nice day. So that's a better way to go about it rather
Yeah.
than ask is actually go like, oh, I'll give you a free ticket to something. You want to come?
Right.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're crazy for that. Now, how do you deal with your agents and managers? Do you call them once a month, once a week, ask them what's going on? What do you do with how
They get
desperate
more.
do you look to them?
Well, obviously, I learned a valuable lesson with my first agents that, they are, they, they're not in the business, at least that version of agent was very not in the business of, let me really go out of my way to help this kid. In a moment where I was struggling, I think I voiced like, hey, I really could use like some help, and they dropped me. So I learned a valuable lesson. Managers, though, I have the best. I stand by like Tommy Stackhouse, Rachel Heffler framework are the best. Tommy, I've, you know, I was at Brillstein. I loved Brillstein. I loved the name Brillstein next to my name. When
Yeah.
he left that company, I said, I'm almost certainly going with you. And I did because I was like, I just trust him. I think a manager is a really special relationship. Every actor should have I think that's the one where like try to be as close as you can. Tommy's at my wedding. I mean, like I love him. I think he's a good guy. I like him as a human. And
You have to
like,
pick the right person, is what you're saying.
yeah, and someone who really believes in you and someone who's gonna this thing is gonna do this a bunch. So
Yeah.
like you want that person who you're like, I just believe in, and I believe in his career. Part of it's also like, I think the older, powerful manager when you're young is dangerous because like what do they've already built their thing. And with Tommy, it's like we're building together. We're gonna hopefully have a great two careers together that are gonna join and rise together.
Oh,
It's
that's
nice.
nice.
Yeah. Agents, I think it's a little bit more transactional. So I keep it more transactional. And I think that's fair to them. That's kind of their job. But I will say my first agent ever is still one of my very good friends. Uh,
And not your agent anymore.
she's not, but she is not responsible for the evil. She was when I first got Heat and I finally signed with a big agency, she was the one who really was like the person
Right.
that was like, I love you and I believe in you. And she was the best agent I've ever had, hands down. Kara Alpert, now at UTA. Hands down the best agent I've ever had. Just started with these new ones, so the new ones, do not judge this. Um, she was the best, and then she decided to be a manager. She left, and then all of a sudden I was passed down to the next one, who was great, but all of a sudden we started kind of tumbling down. But she was the best. And that's the other thing is like, you sign with these people and they believe in you and they really do. And then they're constantly moving companies, they're constantly shifting. And when that happens, you don't always get to go with them.
I
And
also find that there's this great shift of agents or people who were once agents that now leave and become managers. And
Mhm.
and keeping up with that unto itself is also a whole thing because just
Yes.
to say, oh, they're sort of on my list of either people to work with or the wish list or the whatever. And then you're
Mhm.
like, oh, now you've moved, like completely like shifted ground.
I
So
think that the amount of enthusiasm I would have for young actors to meet casting directors, focus on casting directors, love casting directors, I would say I would push the opposite direction towards agents and managers. Don't worry about it. They'll find you. Just put out a product. Just keep putting out a product.
yeah,
Don't they're working. There's just so much on their plate.
yeah.
Uh, that like
You
my
got to do a
dog is
good
having a
product.
nightmare off camera, and I'm
Uh,
watching. She's barking in her sleep. It's very cute.
I just barely hear it. It's
I
not.
know. I want to wake her really quick because I'm like, let's see.
All right.
All right,
So,
good.
final thoughts from either one of you. I've really enjoyed this whole discussion. We did it all. We're gonna bring on Jonathan Haidt next, but I want to know if you guys have any final thoughts. Jonathan Laight. Oh my goodness. But here, let me promote him to panelist. And Robin, you have some thoughts?
You know, I'm going to say that in the spirit of Danny's advice to, the younger actors, I think that people have to be patient. Uh, I think people are very quick to want to run a race that they don't know how far they have to run. And the fact is that in this business, it doesn't make a difference whether you're an actor, a casting director, an agent, or a manager. Everyone's running a race of some kind. It might be a rat race, I'm not sure. But I think that you have to remember that there are moments you have to take a breath, and there are moments you have to like have some water, and there are moments you kind of have to walk it just to see what you're doing and to see who's around you. And I think that you sort of have to remember that you're in it for the long haul, not for that short span of time. That's it. That's my advice.
I love it. Any
I
final thoughts
love.
for you, Danny?
Yeah, I love that, and I think that that's like I think that's I'm gonna almost piggyback off that and be like everybody's a human, everybody's trying their hardest. Uh, and you will run into a couple genuinely bad people, but for the most part, people are trying their hardest. So it's like I think that yeah, everybody's trying their hardest. If someone doesn't cast, casts you in something or moves you around or does whatever, like I think there's such a negativity towards it. It's like, and maybe it comes from the place of having to fight to get into room self-tape, into the audition,
Yeah.
that I'm like, someone gives you even the opportunity for an audition, just be grateful. And be
Yeah.
grateful if somebody casts you, and be grateful if a director works with you, and be grateful if be grateful if someone accepts free tickets to your comedy show. Like, that's time out of their life they're taking, and like, that's nice. Like, just being kind is unfortunately my best piece of advice to most people is like, hey, be kind. And like, even like on TikTok, I just see so much complaining, and I'm like, I get it. I'll complain with you all day. You don't even know. I could tell you, like, I've left off a couple monstrous casting stories of things that went so horribly wrong for me, and are that Harper, and are and are and are horrific. But move forward, don't complain. Let's go forward. Like, the next person will look out for you, and at some point you will bump into your Felicia Fasano, Katie Lentz, Allison Jones, Jeannie McCarthy, Nicole Abbey. I can just start going down the list of the people who have stuck their neck out for me. Harper, and how grateful I am with them.
I love that. I love that. I need to have you back for the horror stories, or maybe we'll do a bonus episode. Now I'm on the edge of my seat, but we're out of time. I'm so excited. Well, we're gonna do it. All right, now we're moving into one of my favorite parts of the show, the live read. Today, we're excited to welcome John Laight from
Yes.
the UK to Casting Confidential for a quick scene read and feedback session. Yay!
Hey, John.
How you doing?
Good. So this is how this will work. We'll perform your read with Danny as your scene partner, and then Robin, Danny, and I will give some feedback. After that, you'll have a chance to do it again based on the notes. Sounds good?
Brilliant. Awesome.
All right. Nobody put on their mute or their and leave your cameras on, just so you know, because we normally do that in these types of situations.
And let me do a little stand up.
Danny, where are you?
I'm gonna stand it up. Now I'm up.
All right. I love it. I
don't like doing it sitting down.
He adjusted. All right. And go ahead. Take it away, guys.
Cool. Thank you. So, did you talk to Brett?
Brett?
Yeah, he said I could do some exhibition work.
No, forget Brett. Think bigger. Think let's think international.
Okay, I'm listening.
Jesse Laird, you're gonna box in the Olympics for your country.
Which one?
Which country?
Which Olympics?
Oh, the next. This the summer one. I don't know. You ever heard of a trainer named Hank Foreman? He's an advisor to the national team. They're looking for somebody to come in and shake it up. And when I heard about that, I gave him a call, and he seemed very interested in you being that shake.
Yeah, I don't think so. Just call Brett, will you?
Brett doesn't want to promote you right now. Nobody in our world does. But the general public out there in the real world, they don't know you yet. So if we do this thing, we get to introduce you. Fresh.
I just want to do what I do.
I know. This is how we make it happen.
Okay. Jesse Laird. Boxing for gold.
There it is. If it helps, we can melt it down into a belt.
Don't even joke about that.
No, I'm just saying we could. We could if you want to.
That scares me.
Well, all right, then we won't. Then we won't.
Okay. Let's do it.
We're gonna get you a belt.
And see.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, and sing it. Thank you.
I think you guys went on and on about the belt. I loved it.
Until I hear cut, John, I'm the same way. Until I hear cut, I will never stop.
Same here. Same here, same here.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Oh
Can't
my
stop.
God. That's the greatest. Robin, some feedback.
Yes. Okay. So I know we're in boxes. Got it. But I would still love to see a little bit more reaction to what your scene partner is saying to you, because he's, especially, there's that one part about, they won't even touch you. Like, what do you mean they won't touch me? You know what I mean? Like, you're I think that the the best matchup, and look, usually when you're in the room, or when you're creating your self tapes, that reader is off somewhere in the far distance. You're like, where are you? Magic reader. But here we have scene partners, right? Very different. So with your scene partner, you really are bouncing ideas off each other. And I think, don't be afraid to try something. And especially because obviously you had no idea what Danny was going to do prior to reading, but now you do. And so I think now you can say, all right, you volleyed, I will bounce that ball back, or I'll serve it, or whatever that terminology is. I don't do volleyball. But anyway, but it sounded like a good analogy at the time. And so, but I think that just keep that in mind, to have fun with what those stakes are.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
I love that. Danny, you have some feedback? I know you were in the scene, but you still have to do feedback. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
I know, and it's my play. I mean, look, because like, I mean, I don't know if this is. Feel free to stop this advice, uh, Rose and Robin, if you don't like it. My my feedback.
I'm scared now. I'm scared. Now I'm
Yeah, yeah,
scared.
yeah. What if he? What? No. What my thing is like. I think you have a lot of very quick lines here. So if I were to look at this from your character, right, I would go, my character actually has more kind of longer parts to showcase. I think your lines are pretty fast. So I think there's less showcasing. So I personally, if I was reading your part, I would look at it and go, okay, how am I really making this unique to John? How am I making this unique to Danny? And I think finding a couple of those, and wherever those are, like if it's a little ad, if it's a weird pause, just anything that like I really want to, my biggest thing is like, let's set ourselves apart. Because I think what you did is a great read. It, but like we only get one shot with these casting directors. So
Uh-huh.
my thing is always like, what are we doing to make ourselves what's something you do that no other actor does really well, and how can we showcase this in this little scene, whatever that is. And I know that's a very vague note, but that would be my thought, is like, what is the thing that makes them go, "Oh, John's a really cool pick for this."
Yeah.
Love
No, that's
that.
perfect. That's something. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you,
And
Dan.
I love that note. And to Robin's note, I would just other notes say that you don't know what Danny's gonna do.
Yes.
Even if you do it once with him, you're not gonna know what he's doing the second time.
I'm gonna mix it up every time. I'm
Yeah.
always gonna do a bit of a weird read, but on the same hand, like, so you can match me, like you can do
Right.
anything you want, and I'll always like play off of you.
That's what I want to see. So
Yeah.
let's go again, and then we're done. So go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you, Rose.
Harper, go ahead.
So, did you talk to Brett?
Brett.
He said I could do some exhibition work or something.
Well, forget Brett. I think bigger. Let's think international.
Yeah, I'm listening.
There you go. All right. So, Jesse Laird, you're gonna box in the Olympics for your country.
Which one?
Which country?
Which Olympics?
Right. Yes, the next summer one. I don't know. You ever heard of a trainer named Hank Foreman? He's an advisor to the national team. They're looking for somebody to come in and shake it up. And when I heard about that, I gave him a call. and he seemed very interested in you being that shake.
Yeah. Look, I don't think so. Just give Brett a call, will you?
Brett doesn't want to promote you right now. Nobody in our world does. But the general public out there in the real world, they don't know you yet. So if we do this thing, we get to introduce you fresh.
Look, Cam, I just want to do what I do.
I
You know?
know. Yo, I know. No, I know. So this is how we make it happen.
Okay. Jesse Laird. Boxing for gold.
Yes. Yes. And if it helps at all, we can melt it down into a belt.
Oh man, don't joke about that, man. You know I'm struggling. You know this is massive for me.
I know. I'm telling you, I'll do it. I'll melt it down.
And cut. John, Danny, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and being open to the process. And Danny, Robin, thank you both for sharing your wisdom and energy with us today. It's so important for actors to hear this real inside scoop from people who really get it. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on Casting Confidential. If you like this episode, please hit subscribe, leave us a review, tell a friend. And we'll drop some show notes in the show notes. We'll drop some of Danny's links, and follow us at Casting Confidential on Instagram and castingconfidential.com, all the things, and follow all these people. And be sure to tune in next week for more conversations about the real relationships that shape this industry. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. This was such a
Thanks,
great
John.
show. That's a wrap on today's episode of Casting Confidential. If you're loving the show, here's what you need to do. Follow us right now on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling inspired, take a minute to leave us a rating and review. It's the best way to help us grow and keep bringing you these behind-the-scenes stories. Join the conversation with us on Instagram at Casting Confidential and drop us your thoughts or questions. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep your craft sharp and your audition sharper. See you back here for another episode of Casting Confidential.
One of the greatest podcasts in television and film with Rose Rosen, CSA, and all the friends. Bringing you Casting Confidential. Casting, that's essential. Casting, so eventful. Kinda tune in to close friends, chillin' with Rose. We call it Casting Confidential. Get a notepad ready, grab a pen and pencil. For magic to jot down, tell a friend too. A wonderful podcast on TV and film, we call it Casting Confidential. Let's go.